Let us discuss about the periodic properties of the elements. So these are nothing but the properties of the elements in which we are going to see the gradual change in their properties along a period or down the group. So in that mainly the periodic properties we are mainly going to consider as the four parameters, that is called first one atomic radius, second one ionization energy, third one electron affinity, and fourth one is the some metallic characters. So in that we are going to move towards the first one, that is called atomic radius. So what do you mean by this radius? You know that when you draw the circle, then you are going to find out that is the center of that circle and that boundary surface we are going to call the radius. Similarly here also the atomic radius is nothing but the distance between the center of the nucleus and the outermost electron shell of an atom of an element. So you know this one, this is an atom. Atom is nothing but the center, that is called nucleus, right? The distance between the nucleus and outermost boundary surface we are going to call as the atomic radius. So this distance we are going to call the atomic radius. But you know that according to the quantum physics or quantum mechanics, we are not going to find the exact position of an electron, right? Hence we are not going to determine the exact or accurate about this atomic radius of any element, because just it is an imagination, right? This is an imagination. We don't know exactly what is that accurate surface of this atom. We are not going to exactly, we are not telling. Just it is an approximate, right? So that's why. So some of the, and also we are not going to find out some same elements of the different radius also it will be there. So that's why this is not going to specify the exact this radius of this atom. But anyhow, we are going to specify by some following three parameters. So those are called covalent radius, van der Waals radius, and ionic radius. So let us discuss with these three, then we move towards the further. Let us discuss one, that is called first one covalent radius, so which is comes under the atomic radius. So according to this definition, half of the distance between the centers of the two nuclei of similar atoms of some same molecule bonded by a single covalent bond. As you can see here, that is according to definition. So this is they are going to consider as a molecule. Just I take an example for this one. Chlorine is a molecule, right? Chlorine is a molecule. Molecule is nothing but consisting of the two atoms. That is called molecules. So this is a one Cl atom. This is one Cl atom. So now half of the distance between the centers of the two nuclei of similar atoms of the same molecule. So this is the same distance. I mean same radius. They are going to take part here. It is for centers of the two nuclei, and this distance we are going to call as the covalent radius. So this is called a single covalent bond. This is called bond. Bond means the distance between the centers of the nuclei. This is called a bond length, and this is called a covalent radius. Let us take one example. The bond distance, that is called distance, means this is whole distance of the two nuclei atoms. Bond distance between the two nuclei of chlorine in a Cl2 molecule is 1.98 angstrom. I mean, so this distance they are telling as the 1.98 angstrom. So what about its covalent radius? That is covalent radius is equal to Rc. Here this is Rc is nothing but the radius. This is 2Rc is nothing but the distance, complete distance. I mean 2 radius of this molecule. Rc is equal to 1.98 angstrom divided by 2. Right? So 1.98 angstrom divided by 2. So they are asking, they are given the distance. What about its radius? Radius means it's half of this distance. That is nothing but the Rc is equal to 0.99 angstrom. So this is called covalent radius. Let's go towards this one. That is called van der Waals radius. What it is a van der Waals radius? The one of the distance between the nuclei of two adjacent atoms belonging to the two neighboring molecules of an element in a solid state. Suppose if we are going to take this one molecule and this one molecule, so these are called the two neighboring molecules according to the definition, and one of the distance between one of, not these are the two of one of the atoms of that molecule, they are going to consider here, that is called one of the distance between the nuclei of two adjacent atoms belonging to the two neighboring molecules of an element in a solid state. So I mean this is one molecule, right? So they are going to consider the only one atom in that molecule, and this is neighboring molecule. Here also they are considering the one atom of that molecule. So this distance they are going to call as the van der Waals radius. So these will be affect the atomic radius. Let us discuss about the third one, that is called ionic radius, which is also belongs to the atomic radius. So as the distance between the center of the nucleus of an ion, because as the name indicates, ions means if I take the sodium metal, right, that is symbol Na. If I take the sodium ion means that is called Na plus. Similarly chlorine, chlorine is like this will be the Cl, we write, but its ionic form that is called Cl minus. The distance between the center of the nucleus of an ion and a point up to which the nucleus has an influence on its electron cloud, so that is going to call the atomic radius. So here the matters of the ion forms will be there. So if you take this atomic radius of the sodium, atomic radius means atomic radius means the distance between the center of the nucleus to the boundary surface. If I take the atomic radius of the sodium, that is called 154 picometer. What about its ionic radius? That is ionic radius. What happens? Na plus, that becomes decreases. Why? Because Na plus means lose one or electrons, 1 or 2 electrons. If here sodium is going to lose 1 electron, means automatically that size or whatever it comes to the decreases. So here sodium, right, 154 picometer. If I take the sodium, how many electrons will be there in the sodium? It is called 11 electrons will be there in the sodium. What about this Na plus? Na plus means loss of 1 electron, then it becomes the 10, right? Loss of electrons, then size also decreases. So that's why when you come to the parameter of the size of the sodium and the sodium ion, the sodium will have the greater in the size than the sodium plus. But whereas, and also you can take some more example, size of the iron, Fe plus 2, Fe plus 3. So however, when the metal loses the electrons, the size becomes decreases here. You can take these examples also. And when come to the parameter of the anion, this is a cation. So when come to the parameter of the anion, it is a reverse case of that cation. That is, if I take the atomic radius of the chlorine, so it has the 99 picometer, right? So what about the ionic radius of this chlorine? It goes on increases. So here and vice versa, because in the chlorine minus means it is going to, this is a 17 electron will be there. Chlorine means 17 electron. Cl minus means which is going to abstract one extra electron. Now it becomes 18, stable configuration, right? So that's why its size of this anion will be always greater than its respective atom, and here the size of the sodium metal is always greater than its respective ions. So this is an ionic radius. And here one more very important parameter, that the variation of the atomic radius. What type of variations we are going to see in the atomic radius? Let's take a brief image of this one. So first one, the atomic radius decreases along the period. So when you look at this one, so what happens? The atomic radius goes on decreases along the period. Why? What is the reason? Because when you are going to add an extra electrons to the orbitals of the same shell, what happens? The effective nuclear charge goes on increases. So that's why atomic radius decreases. So if I take the carbon first, carbon I am going to consider atom. So what is it? 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Carbon. After this carbon, nitrogen. Nitrogen is, so I am going to write only this 2 orbitals. That is 2s2, 2p2. Right? So what about carbon, nitrogen? What about oxygen? Oxygen same. 2s2, 2p4. What happens when you are going to add an extra electrons to the orbitals of the same shell? Here also same shell will be there. So this is called 2. I mean L shell, right? So this is principal number will be same. This n is equal to same. N is equal to 2. Here also 2. Here also 2. What happens? The effective nuclear charge cloud increases on the electron cloud. So that's why atomic radius goes on decreases along the period. We can. Then comes to here, atomic radius increases down the group. So what happens along the period, that goes on decreases, but in vertical column that is goes on increases because of the principal shell. As the principal shell goes on increases, atomic radius increases. If I go into consider this one, hydrogen you know 1s1, right? Lithium, it is nothing but the 1s2, 2s1. So here the principal shell, first one, here 1, here 2, and it goes on increases. Next if I take the sodium means last 3s1. Next if I want to take the hydrogen, lithium, potassium means the 4s1. What happens? These are the principal numbers, right? When the principal shell which goes on increases, the atomic radius increases down the group. You are going to see the increase in the principal shell only along the down group, but here it is not. What happens here? The same shell will be there. 2 here also 2 will be there. Orbitals will be same, right? Orbitals. But what happens? Extra electrons when you are going to add the nucleus which holds the electrons almost of this atom towards itself. In this case of this one. That's why along the grid the atomic radius goes on decreases, but along the group, down the group, this will increases because of this parameter. So this is about the atomic radius. Let's discuss about the second very important properties of an element, that is called ionization energy or ionization enthalpy. Let's define this one. That is the amount of energy required to remove the outermost electron from neutral isolated gaseous atom. That is called the energy is required to remove the outermost electron. So let us take an example. You know that sodium metal. So that sodium metal is first converted into gaseous form. That is called isolated gaseous form. This is now isolated gaseous atom, right? So after what happens? It is going to remove the one electron. That is called the amount of energy is required to remove the outermost electron. Its outermost electron. How we are going to write? That is called 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. 3s1. Outermost orbital is this one. So they are going to remove this one electron in order to maintain this stability, right? So it's behind this one. That is called neon. Neon is a noble gas, a stable gas. Every elements in the periodic table always they want to become a stable. So in order to get this stable, the sodium metal it loses one electron. That how it is going to lose when you supply the energy. That's why the amount of energy is required to remove the outermost electron. And here when it loses its electron, it forms the cation, and an electron will be released. Its ionization energy is the 495 kilojoule per mole. This amount of energy is required to remove its outermost shell electron from the sodium isolated gaseous atom. So let us define the three further terms of this ionization energy. That is called first ionization energy. First ionization energy is same as this one only. It is the amount of energy is required to remove the outermost shell electron of an isolated gaseous atom to form the monopositive ion. This is an electron releases. What about the second ionization energy? So it is nothing but the amount of energy is required to remove the outermost electron from the monopositive isolated gaseous atom. So it is called monopositive isolated gaseous atom. It loses one electron. What happens? Now it becomes 2 plus, because already one electron is lost. When you loses one electron again, it forms the 2 plus and electron will be released. What about the third ionization energy? Same. The amount of energy is required to remove the outermost electron from the dipositive ion. Dipositive ion. That is of the isolated gaseous atom. So after the losing one electron, now it becomes the 3 plus, because already 2 plus has gone. One electron, if one electron is loses, then it forms the 3 plus. And one more parameter there. So it is very important. Always ionization energy it goes on increases will be in the order will be like this will be there. So first ionization energy will be always lesser than the second ionization energy, and this second ionization energy will be second one. This will be always smaller than that one ionization energy. Why? Because why this happens? So you know that one. After losing one electron from this one, you can going to consider this only, right? So after when it loses one electron, what happens? The effective nuclear charge increases and atomic size decreases. After losing one electron, they form the cation, right? That time what happens? The nucleus which pulls the electron towards itself. This is an outermost orbital. This is a nucleus. This nucleus what happens? This pulls the electron towards itself. Then what happens? In order to remove the further electron after this one monopositive ion, it requires a lot of energy to remove again one more electron. So that's why very difficulty. That's why you require high amount of energy. So in order to say in third ionization energy, because what happens in this case when the attraction between this nucleus, center of the nucleus, and the outermost boundary, outermost electrons will be, they are very tightly close one will be there. So in order to gain, in order to get the one electron back, so it's a lot of energy is required. Similarly for the ionization energy also. So only the parameter that effective nuclear charge and atomic size. So after the losing the one electron, effective nuclear charge which will be increases on the electron load, whereas size decreases. When the size decreases, the hold of the attraction between this nucleus and electrons, they are very tightly, so it requires more energy. And let's discuss about the variation of the ionization energy. How the ionization energy will be vary in the periodic table. You can see those picture of that variation of this ionization energy. So here ionization energy increases along the period. So ionization energy increases along the period. How it is going to increase along the period? You can see here. So what happens? After losing one electron, the effective nuclear charge increases on the electron load, atomic size decreases. So that's why the ionization energy increases along the period. The main reason is here because of the atomic size. Atomic size will be decreases along the period, but because when you are going to add an extra electrons to the same principal shell, I told that oxygen, nitrogen, copper I have explained in the atomic radius, right? Like this also, the atomic size decreases because of the when the extra electrons which are going to adding to the same principal shell. What about this down the group? This will goes on decreases because of the atomic size. Atomic size increases. How it is goes on increases? Because of the parameter that when you are going to add electrons to the different principal shell, that is I will explain. Hydrogen 1s1, lithium 2s1, sodium 3s1, potassium 4s1. I mean the principal shell goes on increases, the atomic size goes on increases. So that's why the ionization energy decreases down the group. So this is the concept about the ionization energy.